Hello everyone, my name is Rohan and today we are going to look at job requisition process within Workday. Now before I get into the system, I would like to talk about Brassring. What is Brassring? Brassring is our new applicant tracking system and it will help us in streamlining our recruitment processes. It will also help our recruitment team to get shortlist candidates, take them through various stages of hiring, and eventually get them offered. This entire video will help us to understand how Workday is getting integrated with Brassring and how the data transfer is going to happen between the two systems. So basically, we have two data integration points. The first one being at the job requisition process, where we have some details being sent over from Workday to Brassring, and then we have the hiring process, where once the candidate is being offered within Brassring, there's some basic information being sent over back to Workday to trigger the hire process. So these are the various data entry points which will ensure that we reduce the amount of redundancy involved in having two systems to take care of independent processes out here. So let's go back to the system now. I have logged in as a manager, Mandar Joshi, and I'm going to show you how to raise requisition. To raise requisitions in Workday, we have three ways of doing it. Let's see the first one. So I am going to type create job requisition here in the search box. I select the task. By default, it picks up my supervisory org. The first way of doing it is for a new position. So if I have a job requisition for a new position which never was present in my supervisory org, I'll use this option. So you select create new position here, select the worker type. So let's say I do employee, click OK. It will now take you to enter the details for your requisition. So it starts with recruiting information. Now here, remember that in number of openings, you don't change the value. If there are multiple openings, make sure that you raise those many requisitions in the system. This is to ensure that we have proper validations in place and the process is being followed within Workday and Brassring as per standard policies. Coming down, we have the reason to select recruiting instruction. Now here you'll see that we have four options. For some options, we see that there's a comment saying that no export to Brassring. This indicates that the data or the job requisition which is being entered in Workday is not being sent over to Brassring. So in case if you want your recruitment team to work on the requisition, you want the requisitions to be published and candidates to apply online, make sure that you select the right reason here. So for our example right now, I am going to use this option where it indicates that the requisition is being pushed or rather published on internal as well as external gateway. Then we define the recruitment start date, the target hire date, click on next. Enter the job posting title, enter the reason for posting this post, then enter the job description details. There are various ways of doing it. If you have the job description ready in Word format, you can just copy that content here, come back to Workday and just paste it. Enter the worker type, time type, primary location, so that could be Lower Parel. If you have a requisition where hiring can happen in one or more than one location, there's this option here called additional locations which can be selected. But please note that since this requisition is only for one opening, we are going to only have one candidate hired in one of these locations out here. The maximum locations that you can have in additional locations is 2. So I'll select few more. Click next. Now these are optional or non-mandatory details which can be skipped. So I jump to the last tab, that is summary, where I get to see all the details that we have entered. At any time, if you feel there's any change required, you can click the pen and paper icon relevant to that section out there, and it allows you to edit information. Once you're through reviewing all your details, you can click submit to send your requisition to next step. So this completes our one way of raising a requisition within Workday. We look at the second option now. So again, I am going to search the job requisition task within Workday using the search option that you have there on top. Select the task. This time I am going to raise a requisition for an existing position. So I select this option here. I have to click the pick list option on the right hand side to see what all existing positions I have. So let's select this one here. So what we are doing is we have all the positions displayed from the existing positions. I have selected position business analyst, which is currently unfilled. Select the worker type. Let's say we select contingent worker this time. Click OK, and it takes you to the recruitment information tab. This is somewhat similar to what we have seen initially. Now I'm not going to change anything. Make sure that the justification and job description details are entered, because these are important and required to process requisitions. Okay, I don't select any additional locations this time. I click next. Now note that there's a slight difference this time. Since we raised the requisition for contingent worker, we have a separate tab which talks about the cost information for the contingent worker. So that can be captured here. And then we go to the last tab, the summary tab, where we see all the details that were entered, review, change if required, using the pen and paper icon, and submit to trigger the next step. So that completes the second way of raising a requisition, that is for an existing position which is currently unfilled. The last option that we're going to look at is raising a requisition for an existing position which is currently occupied. So we use the same option here. We scroll down. Now I'll select this position here called team consultant. Note that this position is getting vacant effective 31st of March 2015. That means the person currently occupying this position is getting terminated by that date. So system allows you to raise a requisition and have a new employee joining in before the existing employee is getting terminated. This happens typically in cases where you need handovers to happen. So before I click on OK, there's one small thing that I want you to know about, and that is whenever you have a requisition raised for a position which is currently occupied, make sure that available for overlap option is set to yes. Of course, this is something controlled by your HR team, but as a manager, you can always cross-check before you're raising the requisition. So to do this, what I just did is the position which I got here, I just clicked on the related actions. I right-clicked it, clicked on the see in new tab option, and here it comes where I can check whether the position is available for overlap. This ensures that later on when we have candidates getting hired, we don't get into problems. Otherwise, if the position is not available for overlap, you can't have candidates hired till the time this existing employee is not terminated. So this is something very important to remember. Let's come back to the requisition form. And of course, rest of the steps are quite similar, which we have seen already. This time, since it's a replacement, this information is filled automatically. Remaining details are similar. Okay, so I am getting an error this time saying that the date can't be less than the last filled date, which means this position was only filled effective. Okay, let us take this option, click next. Next, jump on to the last tab, review your details and click submit. And there you go. So now it has triggered the next step. So just to summarize, we just finished looking at 3 ways of raising a job requisition. The first one being raising a job requisition for a new position. Then we looked at how requisition is raised for an existing position which is unfilled. And the last option that we had seen was raising a requisition for a position which is currently occupied. Apart from this, the other options that we have is raising or rather editing an existing job requisitions. So let's say if I have existing requisitions in place and I wish to edit that info, I can do that by going to the supervisory org that I am a manager for. Then I click on the staffing tab to see what all requisitions are currently there in the system, and I can use the related actions here for the existing requisition to just go and edit. So I left click this option here, I go to job change, I click on edit job requisition, and I see a similar screen that we've been looking at earlier. So let's say select a reason to edit. Click next. Go to the summary tab, review details, and click submit. So that completes all the possible scenarios a manager can have while raising requisitions in Workday. I hope that video was helpful. I wish you all the best. Thank you for your time to watch this video. Bye bye.